whatnot.
Oh, great. Do you enjoy lifting weight?
Yeah, it's very like it gives me like a lot of dedication. So I try to like push myself against like my friends and see who can like get the better image or like get like better muscles or like um,
So you can
try to
compete
lift
with
more
each
weights.
other.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's pretty nice.
that's
It's like
fun.
a competitive aspect with each other.
How did you get it?
Absolutely makes it more fun. Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Um, like I said before, I was like very self-conscious about my image, and so I was like trying to find ways, and like a lot of my friends already started like working out, and so they just like, hey Jason, just come out with us, see how it is, maybe like it'll change your life. So, and from there, it's just been great.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, so why dentistry? Why are you interested in dentistry?
At a young age, my teeth were far from perfect. I was very like conscious about my smile. I always looked very sad, and then through all that dental work, I can say from experience that um, there's nothing more transforming than the new sense of self-confidence that you get from a new and improved smile.
Mm-hmm.
And also from my volunteering experiences, I've gone to the fact that I've liked being with people and interacting with people. And dentistry is a good outlet to do that, as they're always constantly in contact with different patients, and um, that's where I like meeting, like be able to like meet new people and like see where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah. And I also like working with my hands because I've been playing the violin for 10 years
Oh
or
wow,
so,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, so it's kind of like very nice to be able to make something out of my hands, from kind of like how you just play notes out of a page. Dentistry is kind of like parallel to that. You can just make something beautiful from your hands, and I really like that about dentistry.
Yeah, I always liked sculpture. That's why I decided to study, pathology. It's just reminded me of things I've done with my hands and organelles and systems that pathology entails. So some kind of like BS they're gonna say so that they can just flow the conversation.
Yeah.
So what are some of your strengths?
I'd say I'm very patient with others. I'm
Okay.
not. I don't like care to like judge people or whatever. I try to like give them, try to like understand where they're coming from, and like don't like jump on to situations, and so that'll like cloud up any type of like conversation or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I also say I'm very organized.
Okay.
I'm very like I've put a lot of like thought, and uh, I think about what I do before I actually do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also very outgoing. I like to like meet new people and just like talk to people and see what they're doing in their lives, like what they're experiencing. It's very nice to see what others are doing. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Tell me about a time when you faced a serious struggle and you have done something to overcome that.
And so when I was about maybe 14 years old, I went through a divorce, and that was very hard for me. And from that experience, I've come to learn to the fact that life always throws curveballs at you, and you have
Yeah.
to be able to. It's crucial to adjust yourself to the situations. And sometimes, if you can't, you just have to go with the flow. And so that's given me a sense of like very mature, uh, like to adapt to the situation. And so I become more flexible, and I've learned a lot to be able to do that from that experience.
Okay. Where do you see yourself in next 10 years?
In 10 years, I hope to be practicing dentistry by now, and I'm also hope to be settled down with a family, maybe a kid or two. Yeah, that's what I really want in 10 years to come.
Okay, that's awesome. Tell me something that you don't mention in your personal statement, but
That
it's really really important for you. It's part of your identity, and you want us to know about it.
I would say I'm very passionate about things, and through music, I've grown to like put like a lot of passion in what I do. And so, if I really like have strong ideals about something, I really go out of my way to try to improve myself and try to like find all the different ways to be able to do this better and be more passionate about what I do.
Interesting. And how do you think you're going to use that as in dentistry?
Dentists are very passionate, compassionate people. They put a lot of work and a lot of thought into what they do, and that will be compelled through how patients are being treated and how they are going to be felt after a dental procedure is done.
Okay, cool beans. Did you shadow any dentist in Austin?
Yeah, I've shadowed one dentist.
How was the experience like?
It was a great experience. I noticed that she was very close and personal with her patients. That was really inspiring to me. So kind of ease the stigma of going to the dentist office, because everyone really doesn't like to go to the dentist office. But I noticed that her patients really liked seeing her and really talking to her, and that really inspired me to become a dentist and build relationships like that one day.
Oh, great. What type of dentistry do you want to go into when you become a dentist? Do you have any idea?
I'm open to anything right now. I don't really have any preferences.
That's a good answer. Okay. How was your undergraduate experience like, and what were some of the interesting courses you were taking? What are
It was a very big learning curve, jumping from high school to college. It took a while for me to adjust, but when I did adjust, I began to start liking my experience a lot more. It taught me a lot more about myself and what I needed to do to try to get focused and try to do the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something I've greatly appreciated from my college experience. And one of the few courses that I really enjoy was I recently took a systems physiology course last semester.
Okay.
It was really nice to learning about the different body systems and how they adjust to certain situations. And I also enjoy organic chemistry. It was very 3D, and there's a lot of different mechanisms. It was like building a puzzle, and then once you go through a very difficult synthesis problem, it was really gratifying to see how you were able to work your way and think thoughtfully through that process to get the final molecule.
Wow, that's interesting. What was your least favorite class?
My least favorite class would probably have to be evolution.
Evolution?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just very super general, and I didn't really I like more detail or very detailed stuff, very micro things, and evolution was very macro for me, and I didn't. It wasn't just overall. It was kind of I find the lectures were kind of bland and boring. It was just concepts after concepts and whatnot, and I didn't really enjoy that experience.
Wow, that's interesting. I always thought evolution was really interesting, but I guess we have to disagree in this case.
Yeah. Everybody, I guess, has different things.
Yeah. So, have you done community service in Austin or wherever is home for you?
At home, I volunteered at a dental clinic over the past 2 summers, and during my undergrad, I also volunteered during a dental clinic here in Austin as well.
Okay, that's awesome. And have you ever had a leadership role in your college?
Yes, I'm currently a treasurer in the Pre-Dental Society on campus.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Do you have any question for me?
Well, if you were an actual AdCom, I would ask you questions about the school and whatnot, related to such that.
Say it again.
If, for real questions, because you're not really from the school you're talking about applying to, But
Yeah, so it's just to understand what kind of questions you're gonna ask them.
Okay, so I was gonna ask what is the faculty to student ratio?
Okay, that's something you're better off asking a dean versus asking so different people do interviews, such as you might have dental students doing interview. They know more about social stuff that's going on in the school. Dental professors doing interviews.
Okay.
They know more about academic settings and
Probably ask what is the student culture or the school's culture is like?
that you should ask to a student, because you should categorize what kind of questions you're gonna ask, and based on who you interview with, different schools have different systems of interviewing. Based on who you interview with, ask those questions to those interviewers so that you're deemed as someone who is knowledgeable and and can perceive what kind of question to ask in different scenarios. So, for example, if you ask me about the how is the social culture like in dental school. um, I can answer it from a faculty perspective, as opposed to like someone who is interviewing. Let's say you're interviewing with a dental student.
Yeah.
He can answer it from a student perspective, and the student perspective is always like a better judgment of the
Right.
social culture. For a professor, you should ask questions about like, what are some of the classes you're teaching, and then what are some of the interesting classes people like here in dental school. Also, sometimes faculty members are not always, they were not always aware of all the changes that are going on in this school. So they just probably know about their research process, about the classes they teach. They might not know about, let's say, the thing that really really makes the school different or distinct from other schools. But you should ask them, like, what makes UT Baylor a really good dental school, something along that line, such as like, what are your pride factors, like what do you guys take pride in. That's a good question to ask.
Would it be like bad to ask if, say, like, if you could change anything about your school, what would it be?
I would not go in that route.
No. Okay, I was just wondering because one of my friends asked that during an interview, and so I was just curious to see what you thought.
I mean, it's a good question to ask people who are trying to, like, let's say it's a good question for you, like, right? It would be a bad question for a school, because a school is not always perfect. There are things that they want to do differently, right? Everyone wants to do things differently, and then you're by asking that question, you're putting them on the spot. Like, what do you not like in the school?
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay to ask. It's probably not going to jeopardize your admissions there, but make it like, just keep it into the positive realm. Don't ask anything negative in the school.
Okay.
You can always have like a close, close conversation with the student, and you can ask the students about it and get away with it. But if you ask a faculty, like, oh, what do you want to change in the school?
Yeah. Okay.
It would be a bad idea. All right. Anything else? Let me find more questions for you. I think those would really help you out.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Sorry, that's my mom. She's just
Hello.
hi. Okay, I think I covered like most of the questions that are really they're asked. They're like more common in the school. Community service, like leadership positions. So tell me something that. Okay, tell me about something we did that. Right, I think I'm gonna end the interview portion here. How do you feel about this?
I felt it could have been better somehow.
How?
Less I kind of stumbled across my words sometimes, and I got a little anxious, my nerves got to me a little bit, and try to like slow down and take it easy.
So, what is the difference the way you're talking right now versus the way you talked before?
I guess it was like more serious then, and then this is more so casual, and so I guess I have to think about it as like a very casual situation.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make it too hard on yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
the person you're interviewing with is also a human, so there is no reason that you should feel nervous. I mean, I understand it's a huge thing for you. You're going in for an interview, and the only way that you can act like a natural is by doing more practice like this. So have a friend over and just do mock interviews and do a recording of it, so that you see what you're doing. Like, let's say if you're not doing something right, you would pick it up. So I picked up some things that I want to talk to you about. Just take it as a constructive feedback,
Right.
and don't take it personally. So I felt that like you could do a bit more preparation, and it's different for everyone, right? So for example, when I'm asking you, tell me about yourself, have like one or two things that you want me to know about you.
Okay.
So two things that I learned about you is that you're really interested in weightlifting, photography, and videography. So those things are really interesting, and that tells a lot. That tells me a lot about you as a person. So you have that, but I think you can do it better. I am recording the whole interview, so you can see like what you did and how you can structure the sentences better when you're talking to the interviewer. I'm not talking about like over rehearsing or over preparing yourself, but you should, to a degree, you should be answering in a way that that the audience is understanding from their perspective. It's logically flowing to them. Um, so when I talked to you about a struggle that you overcame, you mentioned that you went through a divorce. Is that your parents' divorce? Okay. So you have to be specific in terms of how it affected you before you're going to like how you dealt with it. Does it make sense? So if you talk about a struggle, give more details about the struggle. Like how you felt, what was different, and how you overcame that. Like you talk about a lot more on like how you overcame that challenge, but do talk about how that challenge was affecting your behavior, your personality, and how what you did to get to the level that you are right now. All right. And I found that a general pattern of not being specific enough. Like for example, if I asked you, what are your strengths, and you said being patient, and you gave me general categories where being patient is useful, but I would like you to use some of the specific examples that show that you're patient, and you should have those examples ready ahead of time before you go into the interview. Does it make sense? So for example, if you say you're patient, show me an example where you're patient. Don't just tell me like how you're patient and like what it does for you, but show me, for example, let me give you an example. Have you ever worked as a dental assistant or like been shadowing anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, so in that case, that patients could be really disturbing, and sometimes they could be like really difficult to deal with. And in that case, this patient, he's medicated and cover the root canal that he was trying to get done, and he was in severe pain. And when he came into the office, he was just like cursing out loud because he could not, we could not take care of him in the beginning because of his root canal. So I empathetically talked to him about it. How do you feel that we could not take care of you? And basically trying to get to know him better, basically understanding what are his pain point. And at one moment, by being patient and by just listening to him, I got him to calm down and told him that it's a standard procedure that we have to get the money before we file for root canal, and the insurance has to get this through. So if your insurance is not willing to pay us, we are losing money in this case. So basically, this time when I was patient with him and he listened, he felt that I listened to him and I heard him. He calmed down and he said he would be willing to pay $200 out of pocket to do the root canal, and so it's a win-win situation for all of us. Something along the line. I just made the story up. It's probably not that good, but you can make something really good if you just think of stories that you have in your life and make it connected to the strength or weaknesses that you have. All right. Again, it's not like you have to be specific, such as let's say leadership. Like I said, did you held any leadership position in your school? Give me the answer that you gave me.
Yes, I'm currently a treasurer in my pre-dental society on campus.
And you're done with it. So that's an opportunity for you to go further and tell me like the impacts that you had as a leader. Does it make sense? I'm the treasurer of the pre-dental society at my school. As a treasurer, I have done XYZ to improve the life of the pre-dentals and help them get into dental school better. Help them get into dental school. Something like that would make me understand that you're not just giving me a title, but you're also giving me something that's impactful and something that I can relate to. Right? Because as a professor, I would like to see that you are being responsible, you're being a leader within your class and within the organizations that you're leading, and you're going to do the same thing for our school. Okay. All right. What else? Again, like community service involvement. Instead of just telling me that you have done community service, give me a story of like how the community service went, or how it was for you, how the shadowing process was. Don't just tell me that the shadowing was good, but why was it good? Like what did you learn out of it?
Okay.
Right? So do you want to try one more time?
Sure.
Is it going to make you uncomfortable? But I think the more you practice, it's going to be better for you.
Sure, yeah.
All right. Hi, my name is Mohammed. I'm a professor of pathology at Baylor. I'm really thrilled to see you today. Why don't you come in?
Cool. Walk, walk. Hi, I'm thrilled. Hi, I'm Jason. I'm thrilled to be here today.
All right. So Jason, why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
So I grew up in Arlington, Texas, and I currently attending the University of Texas at Austin, pursuing a neurobiology degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like to enjoy very new, different experiences, meeting new people. I really like meeting new people and seeing where they come from in life. And I also am very detail oriented, uh, and with those very interests, I've taken up photography and videography, and I also like to try to live a very healthy lifestyle. And with that, I'm very conscious about what I eat, and I really enjoy weightlifting.
That's awesome. I'm also trying out weightlifting for a few days a week, and I might get your advice on that later on.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't you tell me what made you interested in dentistry?
So as a young child, my teeth were far from perfect, and I was very self-conscious about my smile, and I didn't really like to show my emotions. And so with all the dental work I've been through, there, I've gained a new sense of self-confidence, and that's really have gave me a very positive outlook on my overall feelings and how I think about life. And I also and from my volunteering experiences, I've grown to see.
Wait. Well, what happened there?
I kind of like lost my
The
train
tr-
of thought.
what happened?
Uh, I forgot about the scope of the question and how I was gonna shape it.
So I asked you why do you want to be a dentist, right?
Yes.
Okay. What are some of the possibilities that you can mention?
So like working with people,
Okay.
and I like working with my hands,
Okay.
and I like being able to provide compassionate care to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Work-life balance.
yeah, work-life balance,
So
and
those are four things, right?
yeah.
Now tell me that answer again.
Okay.
Why do you want to be a dentist?
All right. As a child, I was very self-conscious about my teeth. I was very shy about my emotions, and I never really wanted to show my emotions. And with all the dental work that I've done, it was a very transforming experience. I've gained a new sense of self-confidence from my new and improved smile. And from my volunteering experiences, I've grown to have an interest with helping and being with people. And through volunteering at dental clinics, I'd be able to see the very compassionate side of dentistry, how dentists are very caretakers of people, and they very help to improve their lives with a new smile. And I also enjoy through my violin, playing the violin. I also enjoy using my hands, and dentistry provides a good outlet for using your hands because it's always constantly being able to make fillings and form crowns and whatnot. And I also like that it has a good work-life balance.
Okay. How do you feel?
That felt a lot better
A
than
lot better.
yeah,
A lot better. But you can still improve on it.
right.
All right. So let's look at the second. Look at a couple more questions that are more involving with strength, weaknesses, community service. So what are your strengths? What are some of your strengths and what are some of your weaknesses?
As a leader of my pre-dental society, I've grown to have to be able to interact with a lot of the members,
Mm-hmm.
and in that sense, I've become a lot more outgoing. I'd be able to able to adapt to different situations and be able to talk to different people and have an open mind to be able to understand people and whatnot. In addition, I'm also very patient. But playing the violin, I've grown to be patient with my mistakes. I always make mistakes, but with a lot of practice and a lot of patience, I can be able to conquer a very different fingerpicking pattern or a very difficult rhythm, and that's very with that patience, it's very gratifying to be able to see the end result.
Okay.
And so my weakness, I would say, I tend to overthink things sometimes. Okay,
Okay.
and in that sense, I kind of put too much stress on myself. But lately, I've been trying to think less about things and not to overthink things about myself, because being stressed out isn't a good thing, and so to like believe that, I've been like trying to meditate and be able to calm myself and say things that they're okay, things are gonna be okay, and don't just try to like not stress out myself.
Interesting. So give me an example that you felt where you're overthinking.
I'd say after taking a very difficult physiology exam, I thought I was overstressing. Like I thought I was gonna, like I wasn't gonna do well, but turns out I did better than expected. So I kind of put my stress on myself for no reason, and so that's where I kind of like came to realize that I need to like stop overthinking about myself and just it is what it is.
Hmm.
Have like a positive outlook on what I do.
What do you think of that answer?
It's okay.
Why do you think it's okay? Why it's not great?
I felt like it could have had more like depth, I guess.
Yeah. So, for example, when you're talking about your weaknesses, you always want to mention an example. And when you gave that example, after that, you talk about how you try to improve, right? So I had to ask you, like, give me a specific scenario when you felt when you felt that you're overthinking, and then you gave me an example. But you should have given me that example beforehand. So do you see a pattern here? You're always like giving me the solutions before you're talking about the problem first.
About the question before.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job, like talking about solutions, but you have to like mention the problem before you talk about the solutions, because the otherwise the interviewer doesn't know what's going on with your life or what's happening. So weakness question is the toughest question in the interview. People get stuck on it all the time. So it's fine to take a minute to not a minute, but take like 10 seconds to think about your weaknesses and just say, I'm not perfect and I have several weaknesses that I've been trying to actively improve on. For example, I have been overthinking at some point in my life. To be specific, after that physiology exam last year, I was overthinking that maybe I was gonna fail the exam because it was really tough, and I was trying to like beat myself up with it, and stressing about the whole scenario that what if I fail and what if I fail. How at the end of the day, I saw that I got an A in the class, even though I thought I was gonna fail. So all the stress and all the worry was quite unnecessary for me to go through. And I've seen that it's a repetitive behavior that I wanted to change. So I started meditating and I started doing practicing yoga so that I can be more mindful about myself and not stress about things that really shouldn't be stressing me out. How was that?
That was a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to like think about specific scenario and give me like examples that you did, like give me examples from your life, all right, and then tell me like what happened, and then after that what you did to improve it. So you're doing it oppositely. You're giving the solution and then you're going to the problem. So you should be giving me the problem first and then giving me the solutions afterwards.
Okay.
All right. Then what do you see yourself in 10 years?
I hope to be able to be already practicing dentistry and probably like working in a dental office, and I'll also be settled down with a wife and kids, and try to like be a better leader in my society and promote a lot of like healthcare and oral care within the community.
What do you feel about the answer?
Feel like I should do examples.
No, you can't do examples of future, but you have to have like something specific that you want to achieve in 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Right? So let's look at this. Let's break it down. What do you want to achieve in 10 years? Next 10 years. In the next 4 or 5 years, you're gonna graduate from dental school. Maybe you'll do a residency 2 years. Another 2 years. So by the time it's 10 years, you'll be practicing. That's true. All right. What are the what am I thinking or what am I looking at when I'm asking that question? What do I want to hear?
What goals do you have?
And
I'm not sure.
why should I care about your goals?
Okay.
Right? Are you going to do something meaningful in the next 10 years that I should care about, that we should take you in Baylor? Or is it like something, just going to be everyone else? Or if you're everyone else, then why should we take you, right? So you want to stand out when they ask you what's your goal in the next 10 years. Yes, it's important to have a family. It's important to have a kid, have kids, and it's also important to have a practice. But it's just part of the answer. It's not the whole answer. So you're going to say, from a professional standpoint, in the next 10 years, I would love to be able to have my own practice. At least within the next 10, 12 years, I want to work with someone else so that I can save up enough money to be able to open up my own practice in the next 10 years. And I also want to become active leader within XYZ dental organization. Let's say a dental organization in Austin or whatever you want to say, and be an active leader within our group. On a personal level, I would like to have a family. I would like to settle down and have a wife and 2 kids. How is that?
That sounds good.
That's
more organized.
Yeah, like you're giving it more systematically, as opposed to like just I want to have kids, I want to have a practice. I just said exactly the same thing you said, but in a more systematic manner. And you can improve that a bit more by saying things like, oh, I want to run for presidency for like American Student Dental Association, or like any of the associations you're mentioning. So you want to show that you're actively leading groups and you're also actively practicing, and you are trying to manage your own practice, because within the next 10 years you're probably going to have enough money to buy out a new practice or create a new practice for yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think that's all I had to do to just get you in the zone for thinking about how you should answer it. And I think next time you do a real interview or even a mock interview, you're going to do much better, because you know how the answers should be, how they should be structured, how they should be presented, and what kind of scenarios you should think about. So my suggestions to you would be, write down stories that you're thinking that this is going to be a good story to tell when I get this question. Let's say, what are your weaknesses, or what are the challenges that you face? So I'm going to use that story for that question, right? Have like a story toolbox.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
About the weaknesses question, should there be more than one weakness that you should outline?
You should do at least 3, so that let's say if they ask you for if they ask for 2 or 3, you're prepared. Like let's say you just prepare for 1, you're gonna be stuck when they ask for 3.
Okay.
Because you don't know what they're gonna ask you, right? So you just have like a basic idea what you'd say, what story you're gonna give them, and the last thing you want to do is just say, I don't remember. That's the last thing you want to do in the interview room.
Right.
So I think with that said, you can improve, and let me know how you're improving. Do a lot more video interview. I don't know what kind of computer do you have?
I have a Mac.
Okay, so MacBook has this thing called, what is it called? Photo booth. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So photo booth, you can just record yourself for half an hour, go through make a list of 10 questions and answer them one at a time, and see how answers are coming up, if they're structured, how you're answering them based on our conversations today.
Okay.
And do it let's say 2-3 times a week, and that's going to prepare you a lot better than before going into the interview room. All right. Any other question?
That's all I have so far.
Your body language is perfect. Your the way you talk is perfect. Everything is right, except just that the structure has to be a bit more adjusted.
All right. Cool.
Anything for me? You don't have any question for me so far?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm recording this, and I'm just gonna stop recording right now, so